Hello everyone and welcome to the greatest playlist on YouTube. That does sound like an exaggeration, but I always exaggerate on this channel, so I thought I'd best just continue in that direction. At this time, instead of showing you a very nice game, I'm going to show you two incredible puzzles. It's from a book by Georgi Mihailovich Lisitsyn. It's a book in 3 parts, strategy and tactics, and it's one of my favorite books on chess altogether. I remember long time ago when I was still in college, I had this book and I was riding the train, and I would, solve puzzles, but sometimes the puzzles were so difficult that it would, the entire ride of the train was not enough. It was maybe 45 minutes to solve the puzzle. So it took me quite a lot to get through the first book, maybe even over a year. I only solved them on the train. I did not do any work at home, so it really took me a while. But these are really enjoyable, and it's a different type of puzzle than what occurs, for example, in today's modern games, because players have really prepared everything, and you have a really perfect position basically that's been approved by engines for both black and white, and then the positions that occur that maybe some player makes a mistake. Okay, you can solve that, but it's probably not going to be as instructive as these puzzles that I'm going to show you. So this is the first one. Let's check it out, and if you guys have any questions, I would very happily answer them in the comments. But this is a puzzle by none other than the great Paul Keres, and it's white to mate in 4. So white only has a king and a bishop, and it really shows you how to just how to think. So you're going to enjoy this one. Feel free to pause the video and try and solve this while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on finding it. If you found mate in 5, that's fine, but we really need a mate in 4. That's the good stuff here. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is bishop to g5. But we're going to explain why it's bishop to g5. And these positions, like I said, they're going to be really awesome. So if you don't have time to solve them now, just print screen them, or save them for later, and then maybe try and solve them. It will really improve your thinking. So here, bishop to g5 is the correct move, but to make it seem believable, let's try bishop to d2, and we want to deliver bishop to c3 checkmate. So black just plays the rook to c7, and we can't play bishop to c3 checkmate. And now if we go bishop to f4, we want to deliver bishop to e5 checkmate. Rook to c5 just prevents that, and now we don't really have anything. If bishop g5, going for this bishop to f6 move to deliver check now, and then just knight c6. And now after bishop to f6, sorry about that, delivering check, we have knight to e5 blocking check, and now there is no more victory. So what you would have to do here is go bishop to g5 like we said. But okay, bishop to d2 doesn't work. If you try bishop to e3, just rook to d7. Now there is no checkmate. The d4 square is covered by the rook. We could go bishop to f4 to go for this, but now knight to f7, and the knight prevents it and also guards all of these squares. The rook covers this, so there's no way for us to deliver checkmate. And the last thing you could try is bishop to f4 to go for the immediate bishop to e5, but now knight to f7. The knight now covers e5, and after bishop e3, of course, the rook blocks with rook to d7. So if you've thought about all of these moves, then you found solutions for black on how to defend this, and then you probably found bishop to g5 as well. Now the point is to prevent bishop to f6 checkmate, you have to play a move with the rook. So there's no way for the knight to cover the f6 square. We have to play rook to f7, and this is exactly what we wanted, because now the rook is preventing the knight from reaching f7, and we know that knight to f7 was a very important defending square for black in this position. So now we play bishop to f4, threatening bishop to e5 checkmate, and now the knight can no longer guard the e5 square from f7, so the knight has to go to c6 to block the e5 square. And now, only now, we play bishop to d2, and now bishop to c3 will be checkmate, and that's mate in 4, because now, first, the rook was in the way of the knight from defending against mate. Now the knight is in the way of the rook, because now rook to c7, of course, the knight is in the way. Bishop to c3 is just checkmate. So that's the idea. Just first, bishop g5, the knight has to block this, and the rook has to go to f7, block the knight, then the knight blocks the rook, and that's how you deliver checkmate in this position. I don't know, the first time I saw this, I was very, very impressed, and I was very happy with it, and I was more than happy to share this with my friends at the bar in the library, so maybe you guys would enjoy that as well. So that's the first one I wanted to show you, a very nice puzzle by Paul Keres, and now we go to the second one, also very enjoyable. It's more of an attacking one because both players still have the bishop pair, the queens are on the board, the two rooks are on the board, but it's quite a beautiful attacking pattern that it's a position that can occur in your own game, so maybe just knowing this will make it a lot easier for you to try and use it in your own games. It's from the 1951 tournament, the players are Batuev versus Abdusumatov. I could not find the whole game. If I could, I would have shown the game in its entirety, so we're just going to show this position. Now it's white to win. Feel free to pause the video and try to find the absolute strongest way for white to win this, and the quickest one, of course, while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on finding such a wonderful continuation. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's bishop captures on h7. Now, I know you guys probably thought about this, but some of you probably thought about bishop to f6 as well. So we're going to discuss bishop to f6 just briefly, as we are threatening mate in 1. The problem is black can block this with g6, and now let's say bishop captures, and queen g5. We want to checkmate black this way, but black will never capture the bishop and allow pawn captures here to allow white to have some sort of a checkmate. If queen h6 ever happens, we're just going to play bishop to f8, and we're going to cover both the g7 square, and we're going to kick away the queen from the h6 square. So that's why that doesn't work. So we have to play bishop captures on h7 check first, and this is with the idea of opening up the h file for our rook. So a nice rook lift will be happening. Now black plays king captures on h7, and now well, okay, obviously you don't have to capture the bishop, but if you play something like king to f8, bishop h6 is game over for black, because now it's either checkmate or we capture this and then this is checkmate. So king to f8 will not work, and king to h8 also doesn't work. Okay, white has to work for his meal a little bit, but it's still completely winning for white. Just bishop captures, rook captures, or queen captures, doesn't really matter, and queen to h5. Now we're threatening all sorts of nasty discoveries, and there's nothing you can do here. For example, rook d7, we're gonna play rook to d6, and now there's nothing you can do. If the rook is captured, we can simply capture this pawn and a rook with the pawn, and now you can't really do anything. Queen captures on d6, we simply play bishop to g6 check, and we continue with our attack. Queen h7, sorry, not queen h7 check, bishop captures here, king to f8, and now we capture this pawn as well, and now the black king is completely open. There are no defenses here, and we're going to very quickly win this game. Another thing, after rook to d6, of course you don't have to capture. You could play something like rook 8 to d8, but now we just capture on e6. This is also perfectly fine, and black is getting destroyed here. If you capture the rook, of course bishop g6 check, king g8, queen h7 check, king f8, and now queen to h8 check, king e7, and of course queen captures on g7 will be checkmated. The pawn covers the d6 square. So like we said, bishop captures on h7, this doesn't work, so we might as well capture it. But now we play bishop to f6, and now it's a completely different story. Now queen captures on g7 will be checkmate. If you defend with rook to g8, queen to h5 will be checkmate, because the king will not be able to retreat to the g8 square. So your only option is to capture the bishop, and after the bishop is captured, we're gonna play e captures on f6. Now again, threaten mate here. It's the exact same thing. If rook blocks, then this will be checkmate. So you have to capture on f6, and now simply rook to d3, and this is how we deliver checkmate. There's nothing black can do about this. He can play some silly moves, like just, you know, some like queen e5 to try and interpose, but it will only prolong mate for a few moves. So that's the position. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and the previous one. I really enjoyed both of them, and if you guys enjoy videos like these, do mention in the comments if you would enjoy more of them, because like I said, these positions are much different than the ones that would occur in modern games, and maybe you can learn a little bit more on how to think, how to approach a position, how to attack. Not just how to attack, there are also some ideas on how to defend, how to avoid stalemate, how to force stalemate. You know, there are very enjoyable ones. So those were the games. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Do share in the comments if you would like to see more of this. I would like to thank Micah Kennedy, Konstantinos Rompedakis, Ricardo Rodriguez, Ryan Urban, and Nima Morseni for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check two of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon. Continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and checking up on everything else that's happening in the chess world. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.